Hey everybody, it's Ryan, and I'm here with Brenda again today, and we're coming at you, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about beer trends that a lot of people are sick and tired of, or that they just want to see less of in the industry, and maybe we'll do a little bit of beer news too, depending on how much time we have. But yeah, you excited?
Yeah.
All right, before we get into that, we have to crack a beer. So Brenda, you do that while I pull up the chat here.
So it's apparently Homebrew Tuesday instead of Homebrew Wednesday. I'm drinking one of Ryan's latest ones, the Heffa Hype. Look at that pretty label, isn't it pretty? I'm so proud of it.
I know, it's so beautiful.
Mostly because I managed to vectorize line art. And I'm not good with the graphic design portion of my existence. So
yeah, you did really good on that. Looks great. And let's see, I am going to go with one of my grapefruit IPAs. And of course, this one is well labeled as well with my nice custom logo. So there we go. Yours appears to be a bit foamy.
Mine was a little aggressive.
Oh, mine is also very aggressive.
We had some smoky ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what happens with homebrew, right? you get a couple crazy beers every once in a while, but we'll get them poured out eventually. You know, do a little slow pour today. Take things easy.
Bananas.
The bananas, yeah, smells good.
I will say I think this is the best beer you've ever brewed. Yeah,
I would say so. That Hefeweizen was pretty dang delicious.
And where did you get this kit out of?
That one came from Austin Homebrew Supply, actually. Okay. So, yeah, they shipped it all the way up Interstate 35 for me.
Just straight up?
Yep, just straight up, straight north. They got it all the way up here. Yeah, so...
and we should mention you're drinking your Ballast Point clone.
Right, yep, the Ballast Point Grapefruit Sculpin clone from... And that kit is from Northern Brewer. So, glad to see you. And yeah, he says homebrew is not perfect, which is definitely true.
Fair enough.
But if it was, it would ruin a lot of the fun, wouldn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And all right, so let's talk about what we were coming in to talk about today. And I apologize because it looks like I'm gonna have to pull up the chat again. So what's a beer trend you don't like to see a lot of these days?
Well, I said I wasn't going to talk about my haze hating self, but seriously, hazy IPAs on the list of things I'm really sick of seeing.
Well,
go for the craziest, grossest looking thing, and it comes out brown and pulpy.
Right. Yeah.
There's a difference between haze and pulp. Right, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does not come out really good sometimes. And I think a lot of times too is I love a great Northeast IPA, or New England IPA. Do not get me wrong, but I think sometimes I just don't know how hard it is to brew one of those. Because it's really easy to make a hazy beer. I do it all the time.
I suppose.
And so I'm wondering, like, is that does it mean a little bit of a less quality brew or lesser thing? And it's not to say that the brewer isn't thinking about it or really thinking through all the flavors and everything that they're trying to develop. But that is to say that it can be an easier style to at least make. Mm-hmm. Although I will say it's probably very tough to master. That you know, maybe that's a good way of saying it.
I did have a 45-minute conversation with our brewer friend at Black Stack over how long it took them to get theirs to exactly the place they want it. And Ryan will tell you it is exactly at the place they want it.
Yeah, that's the one.
And everyone
one of them that I really, really love for sure. Yeah. Jim Brew TV says trend sell and Pulp Fiction, which is a pretty funny joke. So the reason I came up with this, wanted to talk about this on a live stream in the first place is because I made a post on Reddit, on the beer Reddit, just asking everyone in that community over there what they thought were some overblown trends in the beer industry too.
All right.
And the top comment here is kind of as, you know, strawberries and cream are going to cover up a lot of bad beer flavors, but they also cover up a lot of good beer flavors too.
I'm sorry, you guys. dairy-related products are not allowed to be by beer unless you're having like beer cheese. That I can work with. But if it is a liquid dairy product, keep it away from my beer. If it is something that resembles a liquid dairy product, keep it away from my beer.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yep.
This is a bad crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I put milk type things and alcohol together in my head, and the only things I come up with are like concrete mixers.
Well,
curdling. And I understand like that's not what's happening, and that is nothing to do with what's going on, but I don't want to think milkshake IPA.
Right. Kind of beers where they dump a lot of lactose and fruit in there and kind of hope for the best, and really it's just not. Although like I said with the New England IPAs, if it is done right, those are some of the best beers you're going to ever drink, and I know you don't hold that opinion, but I absolutely do.
I will trust you. But the only thing I want creamy is this. That's it.
Crisp, clean ale to like a fruited sour. And everybody calls all of those things us.
Or your very dark Kolsch the other day.
Yeah, that one was just strange. Yeah.
That's the most golden I've ever.
It was very strange.
To be fair, it kind of tasted like straw.
Right.
Also Wheaties.
Right. One puts aggressively hopping beer styles that aren't supposed to be very hoppy, which have a very intense hop profile, even on some of their lighter offerings.
Overly hopping things and spicing things that are supposed to be pleasant.
What do you mean by that?
I will do a lot of things, and I will try a lot of things, but anytime you start putting chili peppers in my beer, we have to have a talk. I'm okay with a little smokiness. I enjoy myself a peat smoked beer scotch crossover pairing thing. I'm fine with a little spice, but if my beer hurts to drink, you've gone too far. Too far.
Too far.
The concept of moly in beer is fine.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And somebody else writes, here's one that's your dismay: sours and fruit beers. Because everybody, especially in the summertime here, everybody's coming up with sours and fruit beers.
Hey, man, we spent a lot of time in the dark, those of us that like sours, going to only selective sour-only breweries. Just going to say it's great.
Yeah.
It is great.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of the victor here.
That brewers ever hide bad batches of beer in sours and just call them sours.
We have this conversation a lot,
I know.
Especially because I like really weird, funky, cheesy tasting, delicious sours. And we've actually had off batches of beer that I've said, if this was fruity, it might be okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I really hope I hope that the sours I'm drinking were just meant to be that way. But
you hear rumors online though that it does happen. Yeah.
But either way, do I mind?
I don't know.
As long as I'm not dying and the beer I'm drinking is serviceable, I think I'm okay.
Right.
I'm okay with this.
Right. This person has more of a marketing complaint with something that is under 5% ABV.
Love marketing complaints.
With an ironic name like Beer for Drinking, that one Sierra Nevada does. It's kind of emphasizing that their beers are sessionable. It's almost like they're trying to hypnotize you into like, hey, spend another $5 on another one of these beers. We promise it'll taste better this time. Yes, but I definitely see a lot more people talking about their how crushable or sessionable their beers are. Maybe you're tired of that word too. I don't know.
I actually, it might just be because it's hot as the dickens right now, but I don't mind things being crushable or sessionable. I don't think all craft beer has to be 9 to 12%. I'm okay with that. And Imperial everything does not need to happen.
Yeah. How about barrel aging? That came up in the thread as well. And sometimes, a lot of times, I can pick out that it's been barrel aged without much instruction.
Right.
But then about half the time, though, I'm like, isn't this just a regular beer? Like, why did we go through the trouble? You know?
I have a lot of confusion because when I first got into craft beer, I felt like barrel aged was a place that I could safely go, that I'm like, okay, this is going to be something I like. And now we've officially barrel aged everything and I am lost. So it's gone from in the few years that I've been a beer nerd, it's gone from something reliably delicious, because if you bothered to barrel age, you must have made something good. Excuse me, to kind of like a cheap marketing ploy.
Right.
Like, oh, we barrel aged it too. And I'm like, why are you barrel aging a lager?
Yeah, that's kind of fair.
Are you doing it to market it as, oh, we're fancy, or are you doing it because it enhances the style of the beer?
I don't know if I've ever had a barrel aged lager, but that seems like it would defeat the purpose of a lager.
My hyperbolic fake beer is probably, I hope.
Yeah.
If somebody made a barrel aged lager, we need to know. I need to know about this.
Another commenter kind of went along the same lines of the Goza and Berliner Weiss, but just taking what are essentially very clear styles of how they should be brewed, and then, just throw in some mango and citra hops, and then but you can still call it a Kolsch.
But it's still a Kolsch, right?
It's still a Kolsch, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
I also have a kind of old school approach that if you're going to do an infusion that's like a style breaker, I almost want you to exclusively have the original and the change.
Right.
Side by side. Like, if you're going to do a mango Kolsch, unless you're doing something that's, like, based on a Kolsch, or, like, you've named it something and you say, like, in a Kolsch style, I think you can serve that separately. But if you've done, like, a Kolsch with mango, I want you to serve the Kolsch and the mango version.
Right.
I don't want you to just make the mango version.
Yeah. That's a lot of accountability on a brewery.
I know,
because you know what you're gonna do. You're gonna get a little taster of each, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, is this Kolsch actually any good?" Yeah,
right. I am. Because if your Kolsch wasn't good, don't put the mango in it. Fix the Kolsch.
Fair enough.
Like, I love infusions, but I don't love it when people just add things into a beer. Right. To try to hide problems in the original beer.
Right.
If you can't brew it one way, don't add junk to it.
Right. Yep. Raining on Your Parade says naming the beer after hops.
Didn't you do a video on that?
Well, I did a video on craft beer trademarks and how these battles are becoming increasingly common between breweries, as basically the world is out of hop puns.
Right.
And
we've used them all.
I actually challenged viewers on that video to come up with a hop pun that they couldn't find a beer for on Google. So that was kind of fun. But, yeah, it's pretty hard to come up with another hop pun out there. They're just so many taken. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
If you make a super IPA crazy thing, can we call it Mad Hops Bro?
Mad Hops Bro? I'm sure it's already out there.
We're not trademarking it.
Yeah,
after Heffa Hype, I feel
Heffa
like
Hype, yeah.
Mad Hops Bro is just where this Brofest beer naming trend is going. Yes, we're ironically broing. I'm sorry. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. Let's see. Wolverine Brewing apparently brews a lot of barrel-aged lagers, according to Jim Brew TV. And that sounds like a Michigan brewery, so he would know.
That's not what I thought BA stood for. But I'm glad you caught that faster than I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't cuss, so BA is something very different in my brain.
Let's see. Mike says Hoptricity. You won an award last year. That's very cool. Congrats on your award. That's a good name, too. I haven't heard of that.
I will acknowledge Jim Brew TV has also called me on my rant against dairy in my beer in and of that cheesy sours sound a lot like dairy. Sort of. It's really that sharp cheddar bacterial flavor, which I know is a really great selling point when you say it's a bacterial flavor. And also, yes, I do love milk stouts. Again, on the Guinness theme, dark creamy beers I'm more okay with.
And don't worry, pumpkin season is just around the corner.
No.
That's right, brewers, get ready for your pumpkin beers.
No.
It's time to cash in on this trend again.
There are few things I dislike more than pumpkin and Uggs.
Yeah.
And they go together.
I
dislike pumpkin. I dislike Uggs. I dislike the people around those things.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Yeah, you know, there's a couple pumpkin beers I will drink, but I'm very selective. Okay, there's one pumpkin beer I will drink, and I'm very selective.
All right, what is the pumpkin beer you will drink? Because I cannot think of it.
It is from Tin Whiskers Brewing here in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, that is... Okay, that is the only pumpkin thing I will touch.
Right.
I don't come near pumpkins. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't like pumpkin spice lattes. I don't care. I don't even like pumpkin as a color. I will drink their Shocky Pumpkin by the growler.
Right. Yeah, it's a great beer.
Excellent. That's like actual pumpkin, not just like 2 pumps of pumpkin syrup and sadness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and they do that white chocolate one. Oh,
yeah, they do. They do some good dessert quality beers over there.
Feels
I gotta say,
so basic, but so right.
Right.
Which again, white chocolate in beer, tricky. I don't know if I want white chocolate and pumpkin in my beer. They pulled it off.
Right.
If you can do the original well, play on.
Right.
They did the original well.
Yeah. Also, somebody was talking about in the thread about red ales and how that, like,
what does that even mean anymore?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. Imagine you walk into a brewery and you see a red ale on a menu. You know it's going to be at least a little malty. You know it's probably going to have a ruby red color. But other than that, you don't know how much hops you're going to end up getting. You don't know what the head on that beer is going to look like. You don't know what the ABV on that beer is going to be.
No.
You're kind of stuck.
That's another one where I remember that being a safe place to drink.
Yeah.
If there was a red ale, there was a really good chance I would like it. And now it's a 60-40 split.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Raining on Your Parade, Hop-pocalypse as a hop beer name. That one I feel like is taken, I gotta say.
I was the biggest fan of Jim Brew's Skunky Brewster.
Skunky Brewster, yeah.
That's my new favorite thing. That might just be my YouTube handle if I ever start a competing beer podcast.
A competing one? I'm gonna steal all my ideas, huh? Okay, well, you know, that's all the beer trends I have. So unless the chat's got any other cool trends they're tired of, I don't really know. I don't really have a whole lot else that I'm really tired of. We already covered glitter beer, so that really is the biggest one.
I did catch a beer trend that people are sick of that we haven't talked about, and that was beer snobs on Facebook or other social medias.
Oh, yeah.
Which I feel like as reported self-effacing beer snobs, we kind of I'd say we don't get a bad rap, but the traditional beer snobbery definitely does.
Right.
I feel like there's a line between really enjoying a thing and being knowledgeable about it and being a pretentious jerkhole.
Right. I do think there are a lot of, and this is one of those phenomenons that the internet really enables in people, but there's a lot of gatekeeping, I think is the term.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you have these people who really, you know, the classic example I think a lot of people give lately is, because this fandom got so out of control and obnoxious, is Rick and Morty, where they're like, oh, you're not a true fan unless you think X, Y, or Z, or know this obscure detail from some episode. Yeah, that's basically gatekeeping, is where you tell other people like
your fandom isn't good enough to be a part of my fandom.
That your knowledge is not sufficient to call yourself X, Y, or Z.
Right.
You're not really a craft beer person unless you really have had this beer, that beer, or know this thing or that thing.
My favorite is the collecting of like the big beers from around the country and oh well, you're into craft beer. Have you had this big famous beer? Have you had this big famous beer? Have you ticked it off your beer bucket list? I'm like, no. We have like 1,000 breweries.
Right.
I can walk to 4 craft breweries without breaking a sweat. Today I can't do anything without breaking a sweat, including this live stream. But I can walk to more breweries than I care to mention.
Right.
On a nightly basis. So no, I haven't been collecting these nationally renowned beers and paying $20 a bottle for this special release and that special release because I'm busy drinking beer. I am too busy drinking beer.
Busy just drinking beer and living a life. Right. Yeah.
I'm too busy drinking beer that's local to me.
Right.
Which is frankly kind of why I got into this thing. I am trying to live a more local Vorian life and supporting small local businesses. And I'm not as interested in collecting that great new Dogfish Head thing that one bottle shop sells.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Not to call you out, Dogfish Head, you're wonderful. But you're not within 2 miles of my house.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Jim Brew TV says a lot like collecting Pokemon. So yeah. Yeah. It can be a lot like that for some people. And some people it's that much of a pain because there are some Pokemon, just like some beers, that are really really hard to get. Really hard to get. Rating on Your Parade does in fact confirm that Hotpocalypse is taken. Sorry.
Nerd.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I just had to throw that in there.
Beer Patrol checking in. Always finds that beer snobs tend to be people who think the beer they drink makes them superior because they drink that beer versus people who don't. Yeah.
See, I've never found that I feel superior. I occasionally feel that my beer is superior, but I'm sometimes a garbage person.
Fair enough.
And I am aware of that fact.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So while I will judge my beer over Bud Light, Natty Ice, whatever we're drinking, that's because I like the quality and taste of mine better. And things like subtlety and nuance.
Right.
Not because I think I'm the best person in the world.
Right. Yeah.
And obviously I have deigned to drink this beer.
Right.
It's close.
Actually,
it's close and it's cold.
So we're talking about beer and beer names. I found this cool blog post from somebody in Massachusetts who was talking about how beer names are getting increasingly crazy. And since we're already talking about, having a tough time to do it, but like, there's not much news in here. I just want to share some of these names with you because I think they're hilarious. Yes. So first one was Two Hop Shakur instead of Tupac. Oh, look, we're already into the don't cringe, make me laugh challenge right here.
Who's still making Tupac jokes?
It's not a joke, it's a tribute. Come on.
I don't care what it is. Who's still making them? I think I might have been born.
So now you're not going to get this next one because you don't watch The Big Lebowski.
Oh.
But they named two beers as references to the film: Preferred Nomenclature and Zesty Enterprise, both of which are Big Lebowski jokes.
Sorry.
Yep.
My bad.
Then you've got things like the political climate doing ones like the civil disobedience, or who made impeach? That's not in this article, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Somebody on the West Coast.
Oh, wait, but my absolute favorite one on that front has to be Collusion.
Oh, yeah.
All-time favorite. We had a local Belgian brewery do a collab with. They were actually in Russia.
No, it was a Belgian brewery. They brewed a Russian Imperial
That's
stout.
what it was.
Yeah.
It's like, how did they get connected? Yes. Two Belgians, Russian Imperial.
Right. And regardless of how you feel about the current political climate, of which we make no judgments here, the names are kind of punny. I kind of like those.
I like the names.
So, let's see what, chat's giving us some good ones. Jim Brew TV says Titty Milk IPA, which I think would be a hilarious name.
No! All right.
Good job,
cringe.
chat. Good job, chat.
Full cringe.
Or he just typed in the Trump sucks Cezanne. So there you go. There you go.
Well, if subtlety doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't.
Straight to the heart of the matter.
Okay, now there are some bizarre ones. Treehouse did one. They're the New England IPA captains. With the Somewhere Something Incredible is Waiting to Be Known. Yeah, that's a beer name. Yep.
You guys.
Yeah, that's a whole sentence right there.
No, you guys. Beer trends I'm sick of. This strange nihilist philosophy, everything is like a cryptic beat poet thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get all these very deep, strangely anarchical beer names that somehow have some deep connected inner meaning and
you
are
never
just
know. Oh, you're gonna hate
I feel like I start spouting philosophy whenever I try to order a beer.
All right, you're gonna hate this one then. Tired Hands Brewing. We are all infinite energy vibrating at the same frequency and daydreaming of indiscriminate human extinction. I'll say that one again for you. We are all infinite energy vibrating at the same frequency and daydreaming of indiscriminate human extinction. You wanted a nihilist sentence right there. There you go. You got your nihilist sentence beer name.
All right, I have a non-beer related tie-in. I listened to this podcast called The Allusionist with an A. It's all about language because I'm a nerd. And she was sick this week, so she did a stand-in rebroadcast from one of her favorite podcasts, and it's all about this guy. It's what is it called? Imaginary Advice, and the episode is SEINFELD, because the whole thing is this guy is a writer trying to program an AI to be a stand-up comedian. So it's this whole bit as he's going through and kind of teaching the robot how jokes work and what the subtle context is behind humor and how can you program something to understand. Again, Ryan's going to give me a big old nerd in a minute here because I am. But so, spoiler alert, feel free to skip ahead like 15 seconds if you really want to listen to this episode, which you should. He realizes that all comedy is like this dark prose poetry, but made funny. So he realizes that the reason the robot is bad at doing comedy is because it's really a poet and should be just like throwing out these weird mind-breaking scenarios and oblique thoughts, and it turns into this like really dark existential thing, which is really hilarious and also terrifying coming from an AI comedy podcast thing. I don't need that with my beer. I don't need it.
Yeah, why don't you take a sip there? Let's see. Jim Brew TV says all your base are belong to us. Classic line. Mm-hmm. That's a good reference. Yeah, don't worry about it. Beer Patrol says that long sentence made him not want to drink a lot of tired hands anymore. Yeah. And Jim Brew TV said, sentence makes you tired.
How do you, like, get it on the bottle?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, is it 10-point font wrapped all the way around the bottle?
Yeah. Let's see. And one of this blogger's favorite, Not Today, Satan, from Miss Billion River Brewing. Not today, Satan. Not today. So there you go. That one's kind of funny.
All right, so the next time my mother calls me, the minute I step into a brewery, my teetotaling mother calls me the minute I step into a brewery, I could just tell her I'm drinking. Not today, Satan.
That's right.
And she'll be fine, right?
That's right.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. So next one I found was a cool stock news article because I'm a finance nerd like that. But it was just talking about how the beverage market is beginning to shift. Beer sales have been declining. Craft beer is still growing, but overall beer sales have been declining here in the U.S. And it seems like it's pretty obvious where a lot of that volume is going because people are still drinking beverages. They're not all switching to water. They're still doing that, but it's going straight into healthy beverages, non-alcoholic drinks, and more health-conscious, health-focused drinks. But
Ryan, unfiltered beers are great for your gut microbiome.
Well, that's true. That's true. You do get a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah, so
there's your gut microbiome tip for the day.
Yeah, we'll drink some more unfiltered beer right here.
Drink it a little less hot.
But whereas
that one was a bit bubbly.
Whereas you see Constellation Brands, Boston Beer Company, and Anheuser-Busch stocks, showing some volume declines. You see Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper Snapple, and brands like that who are currently repositioning all of their healthy brands into the forefront, actually doing really, really well in the American beverage market right now. So
sorry, I heard Snapple and healthy, and I got...
Yeah, I understand that. What I'm calling health conscious brands. If you'd rather not, no, still don't like that.
Health attemptive?
Okay, health attemptive.
Health leaning?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how the beer industry continues to react. I think craft beer is obviously still breweries opening. But
every 4 minutes.
But, you're looking at about, 1% growth a year in craft beer now in total volume. That's all the industry is going to get. Meanwhile, if you look at non-alcoholic beverages, you're seeing 5.5% growth every year. Yeah.
Craft beer trends I may be mildly on the verge of becoming a little sick of. I love you all. I love your variety, but new breweries every 4 minutes. I can't do it, you guys. I can't do it.
Well, you just said you didn't want to be a collector, so why are you so frustrated that you can't collect them all?
Because I gotta try them all.
You gotta try them. Yeah.
Because
you don't want to miss out, though, do you?
No.
Yeah,
I have severe millennial levels of FOMO, and while I may not be a countrywide collector, I'm definitely a local vor collector.
Sure, I gotcha.
I can't help it.
I gotcha. Yeah, all right. Let's check in the chat. AIPA. Look, see, you inspired a really good beer name right there with your AIPA.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it.
It might already be taken, though. We got to look it up.
Tin Whiskers, please.
Yeah. Let's see. Beer Patrol said alcoholic seltzer waters are big sellers in my neck of your woods. Actually, that reminds me. You've gotten these kind of weird canned cocktails. That are kind of growing in popularity too, which are basically just,
they're flavored malt liquor.
Flavored malt liquor. Yeah.
But it doesn't come in a 40, and yeah.
Yeah, and they use probably some better ingredients too,
Well, it tastes like they do. I'm willing to accept it.
Jim Brew TV says CrossFit peeps. Now, CrossFit is a cult. Everyone knows that. It might be a healthy cult, but it's a cult.
We discussed this the other day that it is in my top 5 favorite cults.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not because I personally belong to the cult of CrossFit, nor do I believe in any of their beliefs.
Right.
But I find it really freaking entertaining.
Right. Beer Patrol says, problem with so many breweries nowadays is that there are a lot of substandard breweries out there.
Yes.
And then trying to wade through them all to get to the really good stuff is getting harder, which I agree with a lot. Because I went to one the other day and my buddy ordered their lager because he wants something a little lighter. He's not super hardcore into heavy beers or really hoppy beers, so he wanted something a little lighter. And he got this beer, and I swear to God, that thing was infected. Totally.
Okay, to be fair to that brewery, infections happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like everything else they brew. The problem was we had a really terrible beer tender.
Yep.
Who refused to accept that there might be something wrong with the beer. And then a week later, they had the local tap cleaning service.
It was very interesting that the next week after we went there, they had the line cleaning service come in.
Yeah,
that was kind of strange to me. That right after I told we actually went. This is the first time we ever complained about a beer we got at a brewery. Was at this brewery because it was very clearly infected because a lager should not have tasted like that.
Oh, it was bad.
And
it was real bad.
Yeah, and the first time we actually go and complain about it, the bartender just said, "Oh yeah, that's just our take on it." And then your
take is not infected.
Yeah, and then they happen to have an Instagram post the next week about how they were getting their keg lines cleaned. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting timing there.
Oh, Beer Patrol is trying to goad me into making trouble and asked me my other favorite top 5 cults.
Brenda's top 5 cults. Can she remember them from the other night? Because we were literally at a pub with one of our buddies, and Brenda's like, "Oh, I think that cult is in my top 5." And so I
think we were talking about CrossFit.
Yeah, we were talking about CrossFit. She's like, "It's a cult. It's in my top 5 favorite cults." So I was like, all right, I'll challenge you. What are your top 5 favorite cults?
Okay.
If you're just going to throw that out there. So let's hear them.
I'm not sure I can get them in order anymore. I know the first one, but I don't want to go first to last because that screws it up. The Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh is not actually their name, but the Rajneeshis.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If you have not watched the Netflix special Wild Wild Country, do it. It's fascinating. I knew a little bit about them and then watched the episode because, sorry to bring it up again, but my favorite murder kind of did a little series on them and I got really excited. And then I had to learn more, and then I listened to a lot of things and did a lot of Google searching. So the Rajneeshis, Heaven's Gate, last podcast on the left does a very interesting story about it. Fair warning, they swear a lot. CrossFit, the cult of CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember my other favorite, but I can't say it because that's very controversial.
No, yeah, probably shouldn't say that one.
Probably shouldn't say that one.
Just say Scientology and... No, you don't like Scientology?
Scientology was my number 1. You just spoiled my number 1 favorite cult.
Oops.
Which is less controversial. It's still controversial, but Scientology, number 1 favorite cult.
There we go. Jim
I'm
TV
fascinated.
says never let the bartender or server tell you the flavor intended, which, is a good call. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Especially if it tastes like you've just licked moldy cardboard.
Right.
Which is exactly what that tastes. Not that I have licked moldy cardboard, but that's what I imagine it would taste like.
Right. So last week, while Americans were celebrating the 4th of July with a bunch of beers, in England, they
were being grumpy about the 4th of July with a bunch of beers?
Well, no, they were probably getting drunk watching the World Cup.
Well,
but
that too.
They were very upset because authorities seized all the glasses from an unnamed restaurant chain because they weren't actually a pint of beer. In fact, they were 8.1 millimeters too small.
Milliliters?
Oh, sorry, milliliters.
I was like, either you mean they were too short.
Yep.
Or there just wasn't enough volume.
No. Wasn't enough volume. They were 8.1 milliliters too small.
Huh.
Yeah.
I almost just named off 3 restaurant chains in a total moment of libel. So,
right. So I think, what I took from that story was it's interesting that someone was out there to catch them, but who is the alcoholic who discovered the 8 milliliter difference? They're like sitting here, they're getting to the end of their beer, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm quite buzzed enough off this pint." No, Sorry, that's much too posh for someone who
Yeah, I was like,
be like, oi.
please don't offend everyone you know in the UK. Please.
Oh, come on. Most of them are asleep or are getting hyped up for they're pre-gaming for the England semifinal game against Croatia tomorrow already. So, you know, it's going to be pretty cool.
It's coming home.
Yeah, I know. You really want it to come home. Actually, wait. That reminds me, in a recent, did I put this in a beer news video or a live stream? Budweiser promised a free beer to every UK football fan if England won the World Cup. So that's potentially like 28 million beers they might have to give away.
I believe you brought it up on the Facebook page.
Right.
Was where that article came.
Yeah. I put it on the Beer by the Numbers Facebook group. That's right.
Which exists.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but that, so, you know, I bet.
Did you like that shameless plug?
Yeah, thank you. I bet Budweiser is getting a little nervous that deal might come through. You know, originally it was like a big ad campaign, you know, oh, hey, we're gonna get you a beer if they win, you know, but yeah, maybe you want to drink a Budweiser while you do it. But, you know,
I'll take free beer.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Beer Patrol just said, Beer Patrol and Rod J both just said, you know,
hey, Rod.
I'm not sure they would want the free Budweiser, but I'm going to tell you guys, my favorite flavor of beer is free. So I would probably drink the free Budweiser. Now, if it were a free Natty Ice, I might have to pass on that. And then Jim Brew TV also suggests, you know, you can clean stuff with that beer. Yeah, you get a nice little foaming cleaner there.
It makes a wonderful trap for fruit flies.
Yeah, you can use it to catch fruit flies or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, you know.
Rod J says he's passed on Budweiser before. So, you know, all right, I got a couple stories left. You going to keep going?
I ran dry and there's gardening to do.
And there's gardening to do?
But you can tell these lovely people all about your beer stories.
All right, go garden. Have fun. Thanks for joining me.
Bye, YouTube.
All right, I'll keep going on with a couple more beer stories I got here. There was a cool opinion piece in the New York Times about how craft beer is kind of becoming a national community, or sorry, not a national, an international community when it comes to beer trading. You know, as people come into the United States for various business deals and things like that, you know, there's so many international craft beer fans that now they're even looking to do beer trades with citizens here in the US, and they'll pack as much beer as they can into a suitcase before heading over here to the US, just so they could trade with various people while they're on their business trip. So I thought that was really cool. And apparently a lot of the biggest countries that do this are South Korea and Japan, where they have a really kind of small but growing very quickly craft beer scene over there, as well as some other countries that don't get a lot of imports here into the US. Like Denmark, Italy, and Poland even all have pretty thriving beer trade scenes. So I think that's really cool. People are ragging on me in the chat for my comments about Natty Ice, which I guess are deserved. And then finally is a really cool story about a beer being developed in the Czech Republic specifically for breast cancer patients. I think this was a really cool story. Anybody who knows anything about the Czech Republic or beer consumption in general knows that the champion of beer drinking per capita are the Czech people. They love their beer and they love to drink it all the time. So it's kind of interesting that they would develop a beer specifically for those undergoing cancer treatments. I mean, that's probably something that's a lot of people miss on their cancer treatments. So the beer itself is non-alcoholic and slightly sweet. And the main reason they did both of those things is because A lot of your standard beers, when you're undergoing chemo, you can get a very metallic taste in your mouth from I guess a lot of the heavy metals and ions that are, racing through your body to kill the cancer. But that makes a lot of foods extra bitter or bland or metallic tasting. So it's really hard to brew. It's really hard to brew a beer that would taste good under those circumstances. If it's an IPA, it gets way, way too bitter. If it's something on nitro, that kind of nitro, sometimes you get a little metallic flavor on a nitro beer that's going to come through. So it's really cool to see that in the Czech Republic, they're making special beers that are very palatable for those undergoing cancer treatments. And actually, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are trying to develop more palatable food, things like cookies or other small treats that kind of get rid of that metallic taste or that extra bitterness that comes with a lot of this stuff. So I just thought that was really cool. I know it's not really a traditional beer, but it's definitely very nice. What's up? Brenda's doing something here. Oh, she's handing me a cat. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we just got a new kitten. She's very nice.
She's super cuddly.
Yeah, she's being pretty good today. So we're having a good time. Let's see here. Let's see what chat says, and then we can wrap this thing up. Let's see. Jim Brew TV says, "Check yourself" should be the slogan, which is pretty funny. Rod J says it's really cool that they're doing that for patients, and Jim Brew TV loves the marvels of science that create all that stuff. All right, beer nerds, I think that's all I really have right now. Oh, Jim Brew TV says he loves the cat. I know, she's a little sweetheart. She came off the farm, and we're giving her a nice home, and now she's already a big fat cat. So we'll see how it is. All right, beer nerds. I hope you all have a great night. And looking forward to more great beer news next week. So we'll see you then. Cheers. Oh, now I'm going to get off the stream. Cat distracting.